On a cold January evening in an affluent Massachusetts suburb, a husband stepped out for just 42 minutes to pick up dinner and medication for his sick child. But by the time he pulled back into the driveway, his entire life had been completely erased. 3 children dead, a mother paralyzed on the lawn, and a crime so baffling it has currently divided legal experts and millions of viewers across the globe. Was this a cold, calculated plan by a mother who engineered a 40-minute window of solitude? Or was it the tragic consequence of a terrifying psychological collapse that completely stole her grip on reality? As the evidence unfolds in court, newly revealed details, including a key detail left on a cell phone, might completely alter what you think you know about this case. Stay tuned, because the true timeline of what happened during those missing 42 minutes is far darker than anyone expected. To the outside world, Lindsay Clancy had the ideal life. She was a 32-year-old labor and delivery nurse at Massachusetts General Hospital, a healthcare professional dedicated to bringing new life into the world. She lived in a beautiful home in Duxbury, Massachusetts, with her husband, Patrick, and their 3 young children. On social media, Lindsay's posts reflected love, devotion, and gratitude for her family. But behind closed doors, a silent crisis was taking shape. Following the birth of her youngest child, Callan, Lindsay began battling severe anxiety and mental health struggles. She sought medical help, kept meticulous journals of her prescriptions, and was eventually prescribed a heavy cocktail of various psychiatric medications. But instead of finding relief, Lindsay was spiraling into a deep, dark fog, one that would lead directly to the tragic events of January 23rd. It was a typical Monday evening. Lindsay took her 5-year-old daughter, Cora, to a medical appointment earlier in the day. She built snowmen in the yard with her kids. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. At around 5:15 p.m., Lindsay asked her husband, Patrick, if he would drive out to pick up takeout food for dinner and drop by a nearby pharmacy for medication. When Patrick walked back through the front door at 6:10 p.m., the house was eerily silent. No kids running around. No sounds from the kitchen. Sensing something was terribly wrong, Patrick ran upstairs, only to find blood, an open second-story window, and his wife lying severely injured in the backyard after a 20-foot jump. When Patrick frantically asked where the children were, Lindsay's response chilled him to the core. In the basement. First responders rushed to the home, where they discovered 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan. Despite emergency resuscitation efforts, none of the 3 children survived. Now, the case has moved into the courtroom, where 2 vastly different stories are being told to the jury. The prosecution argues this was deliberate and premeditated. They point out that Lindsay used a precise 40-minute window when her husband was out of the house. They argue she mapped out the restaurant distance on her phone beforehand, proved she could converse normally on the call, and knew exactly what she was doing. The defense, however, paints a radically different picture. They argue Lindsay was in the grips of extreme postpartum psychosis, a rare, terrifying condition that completely distorts a person's reality. Her attorneys claim she was over-medicated on a revolving door of psychiatric drugs and was hearing voices telling her to do the unthinkable. If Lindsay Clancy knew what she was doing was wrong, she faces life in prison without parole. But if the jury rules that severe mental illness stripped away her capacity to understand her actions, she will be committed to a psychiatric facility instead. This case raises fundamental questions about postpartum mental health, medical treatment, and legal responsibility. Do you believe this was a tragic consequence of postpartum psychosis or a planned crime? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe for full coverage and breakdowns as this trial continues.